Hi. Over the next few weeks, we're going to be diving into what we call the elements of fiction. So if you're a note taker, take notes. If you're a visual learner, watch. Or if you just like to listen, listen. You're welcome to watch this as many times as you need also. So when we're talking about elements of fiction, we're talking about the setting, characters, conflicts, the plot, and the theme of a story. So these are common to every story I can think of. Every song lyric that has to do with a story, if you were telling a friend about what you did for the weekend, all of it. If you're reading a poem, if you're reading a fictional novel, they're all there. So in class, we're going to get really good at filling out one of these. We call this the story chart. We've got the setting, the theme, the characters. This pyramid here is called Freytag's Pyramid, and it's where we have the plot and this conflict. And we'll be working a lot with this as we go along. But basically, this page should not look pretty by the time you're done with it. It's a place to take notes. So we're going to be working especially with setting right now. So you're going to be writing in the settings. So take out a little piece of paper, or just think along with me since you're not in class right now. I want you to imagine a scary place that you have seen in a film or you've visited. Describe this place. How do you feel about this place? Go ahead and pause this video if you need to while you think about that. When you're done, start it back up. So did this picture look like what you imagined? How would you describe this setting? We have a church, there's a bell tower. I noticed there are some gravestones, there's some shafts of light coming in. Think to yourself, what is this setting like? Now read with me. On the eastern shore of the Hudson River, there is a small town called Greensburg. This place is better known as Tarrytown. It was given this name by the wives of that area because on market days their husbands tarried, or wasted time, at a local tavern. I cannot confirm this myself, but I mention it just to be precise. There is a little valley surrounded by high hills about 2 miles from here. This is one of the quietest places in the whole world. A small stream glides through it so silently that it could lull one to sleep. Only the sound of the birds ever interrupts this tranquility. I remember that, when I was very young, I once wandered into a grove of trees. It was noon, when all nature is strangely quiet. The trees shaded one side of the valley. I couldn't think of a better place than this little valley where I could escape from the world and its distractions and quietly dream away the remnants of a troubled life. So this comes from an American author named Washington Irving. It's The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. And if that title doesn't make sense to you, it's the story of the Headless Horseman. So if we look at the text here, try to pick out some pieces that tell us what this setting is like. Where are we? What time of day is it? What does it feel like? What does it look like? What do you see? And then I'll point some out. Go ahead and pause this video and start it when you're ready. So I see that we are on the shores of the Hudson River, which is in the northeastern area of our country, the United States. It's a little town, and it's called Greensburg. But that's not what people call it, is it? So here we have an idea of the history of the place. It's better known as Tarrytown, because that's where the husbands would go to the tavern and drink their day away, where they tarried, an old word for like hanging out. What else do we know about this? We know that there's a valley, there's some high hills, 2 miles from here, so not where we're at. It's quiet. It's one of the quietest places in the whole world. There's a stream, and the stream is silent. It would lull one to sleep. The birds are the only sounds that there are. We could go through this, but I think you're getting an idea of how Washington Irving is creating a setting. Now think to yourself for a moment. Is this a place to be afraid? I would say probably not. This is a place that's quiet, delightful. You could take a nap there. Maybe it's the springtime. And yet, through irony, he's going to take this picturesque New England town and turn it into something terrifying. With, a man with a pumpkin for a head on a horse with flames out of its nostrils, hunting people down, poor Ichabod Crane. Let's move on. When we talk about a setting, I could tell you a sentence like, the dog went to the store. The store is the setting, but we don't really care, do we? It's boring. I like to talk about rich settings. Where, the season, the time of day, the mood or the feeling, climate or the weather, geography, man-made objects, political climate, ancestry, or a history of the area. If you look at this picture here, it's clearly some kind of otherworldly science fiction. We've got all of that. We've got man-made or alien-made objects. We've got weather. Look at the clouds here. We've got maybe a time of day. If you look at how the shaft of light is falling in through the sky here, across here, it's not midday, if this were our planet. Geography. It's a city, and it's relatively flat. A little bit of rolling hills here. We don't know the political climate, but what does it feel like? It's kind of calm, kind of not. It's kind of not really described. And we don't really see a history of the area. But when you're building a rich setting, you don't have to use all of these. But the more you use, the more you build a world that your reader can get lost in. So back to our story chart. What is the setting? It's all the details of time and place in which the story occurs.